Hey everyone, Chad Stanton here. This is another episode of Healthy, Fit, and Poor. Last week I was talking to you guys about motivation, more specifically, how we can utilize habits to cycle and perpetuate motivation in our lives. This week we're going to talk about the mechanisms of willpower. As many people know, when we're early on in the stages of habit development, willpower is going to play a fundamental role. For the purposes of this video, please know that willpower is completely synonymous with self-control. What is willpower? The ability to delay gratification, resisting short-term temptations in order to achieve long-term goals. Willpower is something we exercise every single day of our lives. Whether we're choosing to go to the gym, even though we really just want to stay in and watch Netflix, or we order the salad when the fries look more appetizing to us. We even exercise willpower when we find ourselves sharing the same space as idiots and we're forced to bite our tongue just to keep the peace. Have you ever actually wondered why it is being around idiots is so exhausting? Which is my perfect segue into the first study on willpower. It was a study conducted at the University of Toronto on the notion of willpower depletion. The study took a group of people, put them through a series of self-control exams, and they monitored their glucose. The study found that the more a person exercises self-control and or willpower, the lower their glucose levels drop. Not only did they find that exercising willpower, they saw a depletion in glucose, they then went to break the study into two groups. They gave the one group sugar-sweetened lemonade, they gave the other group artificially sweetened lemonade. The group that drank the sugar-sweetened lemonade, they got the rise in glucose and their ability to exercise self-control and willpower came back. Let's take a moment to talk about low blood sugar. Not only is low blood sugar associated with hunger, it is also associated with mood fluctuations and low energy levels. Not to mention, in order for a brain to function optimally, there needs to be a steady stream of glucose flowing to it. Brain tissue cannot synthesize glucose. Maybe that's why bagels are considered brain food. The human body is working continuously to maintain glucose levels through a process known as glucose homeostasis. Glucose homeostasis is achieved by balancing insulin and glucagon. As glucose levels rise, insulin is secreted by the pancreas, which increases glucose uptake through muscle and fat. When glucose levels drop, glucagon is secreted by the pancreas, which increases glucose production. So now let's look at blood sugar versus willpower. And I hope this provides clarity to those who have deemed themselves weak-willed because more often than not, they cave into their food cravings. My relationship to pizza, according to my Facebook relation status, it's complicated. And due to the complex nature with my relationship with pizza, based on the goals that I'm working to accomplish, I have designated pizza days. But what makes my relationship with pizza so complicated? So growing up, my family was on the low end of the middle class with a high end of the poor class. Because of our financial position, things like takeout were treats, usually celebratory treats. So from an early age, I've established a reward association with pizza. And if there's a reward association, there's probably a mood association. So not only to me is pizza kind of a reward, it's also associated strongly with happiness. And based on the calorie density of pizza, I have a physical association with energy. So when I go about my day, just a normal day, however not a designated pizza day, I'm moving and using my brain. And as I move and use my brain, my blood sugar levels are going to start to drop. Factor in the inevitable daily dose of idiocracy, they're going to drop even further. And so with the depletion of my blood sugar, my energy levels are now down, and now pizza is going to pop into my head based on that energy association. And also because my blood sugar is down, we're going to see my mood has changed. So now that initial craving for pizza inspired by my low energy is being reinforced by my bad mood and also being reinforced by my reward association with the pizza itself. And at this point, I'm getting pizza. No amount of willpower is going to change that. Since the body is working around the clock to achieve homeostasis, it's best to know that we can utilize our eating habits to help the body out. And lastly, I wanted to take a minute to check in to see how our friend Dorothy is doing. We know that Dorothy is relatively new to the gym. Based on Dorothy's schedule, she can only get to the gym at the end of the day. We know that just for Dorothy to go to work, deal with idiots, it's going to prove to be taxing on willpower. And if we're taxing willpower, it's going to be taxing on blood sugar. So based on everything we've gone through, what would be the best thing for Dorothy to work on in the early stages of habit development that's going to wildly increase the likelihood that Dorothy will go to work, do her job well, deal with idiots, and still have the energy and willpower required to make it to the gym? We now know that we need a lot of willpower in the early stages of habit development. Willpower is a function of the brain. Optimal brain function requires a steady flow of glucose to it. And the body is continuously working to achieve glucose homeostasis. We know that low blood sugar goes beyond hunger, also associated with low energy levels, mood fluctuations, lack of sleep, and increased stress levels. And lastly, we know that dealing with idiots is inevitable. So all this information, we can come to the conclusion that in the earliest stages of habit development, even if it's not health related, always start with developing some form of dietary consistency. And no, I don't mean eat the same foods at the same time every day. I'm more so just talking about the creation of an eating habit to fuel your body, and not just your body, your brain as well, with the goal to achieve some stability in energy levels and mood, and to optimize your brain function. So when life inevitably throws the adversity your way, you are well equipped to handle it. Even with Dorothy establishing consistent dietary habits, as absolutely crucial they may be, they may not always be enough to get Dorothy through the day to the gym. The more reward association Dorothy can establish with the behavior of exercise, and the more she can engineer her environment, the less willpower Dorothy will need to get to the gym. Which is why my next few videos will go over how, through the use of reward, vision, time, and routine, we can limit the amount of willpower required in the early stages of habit change. And lastly, most importantly, if there's one thing you can take away from this whole video, let it be this. Don't be the idiot. Don't be the person taxing other people of their resources. If there's anything on this video you want any more clarity on, reach out to me. If you found any of this information helpful or relatable, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to take it one step further, click that little bell so you will be notified weekly when the newest content from Healthy Fit and Poor is released.